Hello and welcome to this sunny day. I'm Lee Hopwood, CEO here at the CCMA, and I am delighted to be joined by James Marscheider, who is the Chief Commercial Officer at Evaluagent. Hi, James.
Hello, how are we doing?
All good, thank you, all good. So I was in a conversation a couple of weeks ago and someone said to me, quality will fall to AI. Now, I think that's a powerful statement, and there will be people that are going to be listening in who will be concerned about their jobs. I want to also just counterbalance that with pointing out that I've had several conversations with folk, in particular who work in AI, and there is a real clear message coming through that AI is not going to be taking jobs, but it might change jobs. And a big message I'm now hearing is that it is going to create new opportunities. So so just kind of caveating that. But what I wanted to do was find out, well, what is happening in the world of quality? Yeah. And in particular, how is technology supporting the teams that are monitoring the quality in the contact centre? And that's why, James, I invited you to come and have a chat with me and come and share your knowledge, your expertise, and tell us a little bit more about what is going on in the world of quality and AI. So first, let's just see if we can all get on the same page. Can you give us a really quick definition of what quality is in the contact centre? What do we mean when we say quality?
What a great question. Quality for me, for us, is all about linking the agents and the work that they do as their job with the experience that customers are receiving, and the constant cycle of insight, knowledge, improve, go again, go again, go again. So it's the pursuit of really great employee experience to drive an even better customer experience. That's how we broadly view what quality is. It's more than just ticking boxes to say I've scored.
Which I think is really important, because, and we, you know, that whole ticking boxes exercise, and know that things have moved on from ticking box exercises and actually understanding what's there. But so from looking at it from a quality monitoring perspective, how is that used to really understand customer experience?
So quality is a really great way of bridging literally every interaction that comes into your organization through that contact center, no matter the channel. It could be phone calls, it could be tickets, it could be bots. But with that, it almost the conversation intelligence and the insights that you can get from those QA programs, the technology that exists today means that every single one of those interactions, conversations, whatever you want to call them, can be evaluated, monitored, whatever you want to term you want to include. So that's a great foundation for scaling broader coverage, because you can now do it, but also deeper coverage, so you can really dig deep and drill down into each and every one of those interactions. That's what is giving businesses now more meaningful business and customer insight. So it is topics and trends and keywords, and that never used to be the domain of quality. The quality was very much focused on the agent and evaluating the agent in isolation of everything else. The beauty of things like AI, automation, all that kind of good stuff that are coming through, it means that the random sampling of QA, the 1% and 2%, which, you know, historically was where it was, and frankly still quite a few organizations are as we talk to them, there's just so much more opportunity to create more clarity around what's going on, and that can really drive those positive improvements for CX across the business.
And I guess when you're listening into the conversations, you're listening into the whether it's calls or whether it's digital, whether it's web chat, whatever those interaction channels are, when you're listening in, like you say, there's almost clusters of information that the quality team are able to identify. So you can see if there is a supply chain issue, you can see if there is a product issue.
Exactly. And I think, again, traditional QA almost by default makes it the assumption that it's the agent that's the issue with a complaint, when actually good QA tooling and programs now surface, no, it's not that. It is the marketing team sent the wrong code out, because that was an issue that I had the other week, and I called in and I complained to the customer care center, and they went, yeah, I can see what it is, you've got the wrong code. I was grumpy. It wasn't the agent's fault. But in traditional QA, they'd have heard my voice being grumpy, and that's a bad call. And it turns out I was very happy at the end of it, and I got what I needed. So everyone went away. But old school QA, I'd have been the needle in a haystack. But actually, if I got the wrong code from a direct mail, how many other hundreds, if not thousands, of people got the same thing? It was for a well-known food delivery organization, which might speak to the volume of takeaways I get. But that it was not the agent that was at fault, and quality highlighted a business issue through insight that actually fix the codes, get it right next time, all that call volume will drop. So it's a real simple, straightforward thing, but also it means that the agent felt empowered. I gave that person the information that they couldn't get anywhere else. So ticking the box, the agent did a great job.
And I assume these days that quality tools also listen to sentiment, so they can hear not just the same word being said over and over again and being able to present that back, that there's an issue here, but also they could hear that you were grumpy and could hear how the advisor dealt with you.
Oh, exactly. And sentiment is a two-way street as well. So it's also hearing how the agent is dealing with it is almost as if I come onto a call grumpy and that's mirrored, we're just going to all get grumpier and grumpier. Whereas if I'm met with a sunny disposition, or someone who goes, I understand why this person's not in a very good mood and I can help them. Because by the end of the call, I probably wasn't grumpy, to be fair, but I did go on to it because I felt like I'd been wasting my time. But again, it's those things that good QA tools and platforms can give you now. And then the other thing, and it's kind of, I'm maybe jumping a couple of steps in the conversation, but the ability for then a team lead or a QA to go in and listen to that call and hear the conversation. If it is the agent who is the grumpy one, there's content, I need to go and speak to Dave. Why is he being so grumpy today? That an AI tool wouldn't necessarily be able to go and do. So they might pick up that the agent was in a bad mood, but they're never going to be able to pick up in the context of why. That's a human conversation that still needs to happen. And that's the beauty of QA. It's still very much a human first approach.
That's really interesting. And just staying on the customer experience side of things, quality is therefore a critical component. It's always been important. Quality monitoring, quality assurance, it's always been important in the contact center.
Yeah.
But it seems like it has a bit of an elevated position these days because it can be the critical insight that can make a difference to other functions of a business because you've got the evidence in the quality program.
Exactly. And again, that two-way evidence, you hear what the customer is saying, you can hear what the agent is saying, and you can pull all of that together and create a far better picture of what's going on than isolated incidents. We've definitely seen a big drive of quality going from being it's a cost we have to bear to it's a value that we need. And especially the organizations that are buying a product like ours, because you'd be surprised how many still run quality on spreadsheets. And I'm talking big brands that you and I will have seen this week, whether it's our shopping or on the TV advertising. They're doing quality on spreadsheets. And we get that. It's because quality at its core is based on a scorecard.
Yeah.
And if that is baked into a process around that spreadsheet, I can understand the reticence to move away from that because it is quote unquote working in that way, but it's just not adding the value to customers that it should. And actually, I'm going to say this because of what we do, but a good vendor, they can make that switch for you without you realizing that anything's changed, and therefore, commission schemes and incentives are going to be baked into that, but also broader business KPIs. I can understand why that is a do not touch, but it's 2024. We kind of need to move along a little bit off the spreadsheet.
Benefits are big, and the benefits are big for the customer. The benefits are big for the business. But what about that frontline team? How is quality being used to really support the frontline these days?
It's empowerment. It's involving them. I think there's always been an unhealthy skepticism from agents about the role quality is. It's marking my homework. It's am I doing a good job? And actually, good QA now it's not that. It's about coaching. It's about training. It's about motivation. It's about engagement. It's about creating opportunities for a human being to be even better than they were next time. And then, reward and recognition is massive, and almost to the point around cost versus value. A career in the contact center now is very fulfilling if done correctly, because you are an agent of change, and a good QA program will shine a light on star performers, give them that feel good factor, but also what a great learning opportunity for the organization and for their peers. So, a spreadsheet's not going to give you that, but a broader capability at QA will. It's just the appetite to want to go there, really.
And do the front line like having their calls listened to?
I think they accept that it's going to. I think whenever I've spoken to agents, I said, shoot on the other foot. When you call the bank, what's the first thing you hear? This call is going to be recorded for training compliance. We all get it. We all have to do it. I work in a commercial business. Guess what? Our calls are looked at and listened to, and what can we learn from them? Because it's training opportunity. If I'm an individual who wants to do better next time, I will embrace all the tools and opportunities to be coached and be given better insight as to how I can do it. It's all culture. It's all culture.
And I think that is one of the benefits of a quality tool, is that it is again going to give you that evidence for the front line to help you. Just instead of saying those words, say these words. This, if a customer comes in and they're in got this sentiment, then this is a different way to be able to deal with it, so that you can put that complaint to bed quicker. So there's so much that can come from a
there really is, and I'll emphasize that QA should always be post interaction. In terms of agent assist, that's great as well in the moment to solve for that specific customer. QA by definition is post interaction. It's learning from that. But actually those tools that come in and help save that customer in the moment are really, really powerful as well. But actually the best organizations are combining both. So save the customer in the moment, train the agent in the after. Hopefully we never have to do it again here, on to the next one, and away we go. That's that closed loop is really powerful if you get that right.
I'm going to, in a minute, ask you about AI and how it, funny enough, I am. But first, how has quality changed then over the years? So you've mentioned that, yes, there are still organizations that are doing it on spreadsheets, but how has that whole function changed, and the tools and techniques available to continue to improve it?
It has been quite tech-led, to be fair, moving away from manual work to automated work and technology doing some of the heavy lift. There's still a long way to go, but I think it's that cultural mind shift of, if I invest in those tools to help that, actually I get efficiency gains and productivity gains elsewhere. So it's as a value driver is being recognized, and if I invest in it, I can free up people now. Instead of listening to a call, if your average call is 10 minutes, you can do it max 6 an hour. That's, maths, basic maths, but actually each one takes longer because you're gonna have to stop, pause, write things down. That used to be how you do it. You can't survive with that methodology anymore. It's still, the scorecard is still central, as I say, though. That is the bread and butter entry of QA. Without that scorecard, it's very hard to do anything else. But a phrase that we often use with our clients is do more than score. If that's all you're doing, you're pretty wasting your time, really, other than that box ticking, which we said, again, you shouldn't be doing it. But it's technology, it's and AI has been around a long time. It's just the access to it now is so much more open and vast than it's ever been, that I think there's an accelerator being pushed to, I really need AI in my QA in this instance, but I need AI full stop. And that's going to be the biggest driver of change in the next few years, I think.
So just touching back on the tech side, we're all really aware that the conversations that the frontline are having are getting more complex. I know there's a lot of people out there that will be monitoring their average handling time, which is fine. Some might still be using it as a absolute key performance indicator. Others just might be monitoring it to see what's going on. Given that the conversations are getting harder, more complex, actually there is a bigger need, I would assume, for some form of quality system to be able to go through those conversations, and therefore the ROI on a quality tool could be quite significant.
Yeah, it really is, and I agree with average handle time, because it's as people and organisations putting kind of capability to deflect the simple stuff. That's my phrase, not how they position it, but I hope you all know what I mean by that. Again, by definition, it just means more and more difficult, more complex are coming through to the agents, which in turn they have to be longer calls, because if they were that easy to solve, they wouldn't have made it through. So the beauty of a good quality platform and tooling over the top of that is the opportunity to learn. Why was that one complex, and how do I avoid the next 25 of those? Because very often it's the customer who has created the complex scenario in their mind, because it wasn't a simple methodology or solution in the first place, all the way back to, you sent me the wrong code. That's all you did wrong. It's that simple. If you just put the right code on that direct mail, you've probably saved 1,000 phone calls, but you didn't. Don't do that again. What's your process for checking that the piece of work that's caused the problem over here doesn't cause 1,000 calls a day over there? And again, that's the beauty of QA, is the bit that surfaces that up into the wider business. That never used to happen. It does now. And the contact center as a whole, I think, is now being seen as a real value part of an organization. Whereas I think historically it was we got to do it. It's the cost bit. Put it over there. Try and save a few quid every year, and we'll just get on with it.
Oh, I'm totally with you. For me, the contact center is the most strategically valuable asset that an organization has, because of what is going on in the contact center. Now, I have to ask you the question: AI.
Yeah.
AI. How is AI supporting quality teams today? What impact is it having?
Big impact, and it's interesting when you think about the organizations coming off a spreadsheet all of a sudden into this AI fueled world. It's quite a daunting step for a lot of organizations, coupled with probably some pressure to, I have to have AI, like everyone's doing AI. From a brand perspective, I need AI. My boss said we need AI. The flip side is probably easy to get budget for AI, but that's okay. But really what we're seeing, and I don't want to make it sound too simple, given what I just talked about, the complex, the technology doing all of this it's really smart, it's really clever, and you can't ask me how it works, because I won't have an answer for you. I'd need to get some of our product and techie team in for that. But it's removing the repetitive, the administrative. It is scoring for you against the criteria that you've agreed and set, so that it can just go like that. It's just doing it. So all of a sudden, instead of you having to listen to a call and, did this happen? Yes, tick, tick, tick. The AI and the automation is taking care of that for you. So that's a huge amount of administrative burden relieved. That in turn frees up those people to do more meaningful things. Instead of scoring, I can coach. Instead of evaluating, I can provide insight into the business. It's making QA a real tool for the whole business, rather than just scoring for an individual agent. And it's about deeper coverage, better understanding of what's going on. But on a day-to-day basis, it could change. And again, AI doesn't wait for you to have to go in and make those changes. It's looking for those things in its own way.
But give us examples. So when we were talking the other day, we talked about automation, AI that's been around for a long, long time, and then generative AI.
Yeah.
Give us examples of in the quality world of an example where someone might come to you and go, "We need Gen AI because we need to do this," and actually, no, you don't. You actually just need automation.
Yeah. So understanding the difference between AI, Gen AI probably helps. So AI is taking some data and analyzing it and saying, here it is. This is what this is telling us. The Gen AI bit is, this is what that's telling us, and here are my recommendations for the next steps. So Gen AI is starting to lean on the technology to make decisions for you, which that's the big leap of faith. And I'm not quite sure we're ready for that, because to my point, does AI know that Maggie lost her cat last night and that's why she's a bit sad on the phone? And a good team leader is going to know that, and is going to see a bit of a bad score and go, we'll move on. She's just having a bad day. So at the extreme end, Gen AI can do all of that analysis for you and start making those decisions. Automation can be simple things like, I have a set of keywords or key topics that whenever they are mentioned on a call or in a ticket or in a chat. I want them pulled out and put into a work queue over here to go through a specific evaluation process. You haven't manually got to go looking for those needles in a haystack. The tools do it for you. So again, you can just worry about doing something with it as opposed to finding it. And that, you can imagine the time saved. If you're I listened to a call from a customer yesterday who take 5,000 tickets in a week. You know, you can't sift through 5,000 manually and find the core topics or the repeat reasons for getting in contact. That's where it can really, really help. And it is really smart stuff that's happening under the bonnet. You know, I made a bit of a joke about it, but it's very, very clever. But our job as a QA tool provider is to make that a really easy thing for you to use. So start simple, fix the problems that you know really cause you pain. It is coverage and it is administration and all that kind of stuff. And then go from there, rather than I'm going to go for transformation across my whole contact center and I'm going to have everyone replaced by Gen AI in 2 years. You're not. So just relax a little bit here.
So for those experts out there, contact center leaders, the quality experts, from your perspective, what advice would you give them today on what best practice in the world of quality looks like?
Make it about people, either the customers or the agents. If you focus on how do I help those cohorts of people, that's a very good start. Do more than score. I'll use that phrase again. If you're evaluating, your quality starts and stops with scorecards, you're not really adding any value. So think more about what you can do with that information. Work out, do you need to score everything? This is a big debate that we have often. The phraseology of auto QA and 100% coverage, it means so many things to different people, and that's an interesting time for us in the marketplace. But what is the value of scoring everything versus the value of scoring the things that matter? So work out what's important to you and your customers and start there. And then make sure you are, coverage and scoring are different things, and that could be a whole different LinkedIn Live. So I won't go too far into it, but feel free to get in touch if you want my personal definition of the difference. If you are a contact center or an organization that has 5 different channels to get in touch, make sure you're monitoring all 5. Don't just be doing the digital or just be doing the call, and don't do them in isolation. The customers are using them all, and sometimes they use more than one channel in a singular engagement. So just make sure that you're thinking about the end-to-end journey for the customer, and not just an individual channel.
James, thank you so much. It's been really good chatting to you, and hopefully that's been really useful for our colleagues in the contact centre, whether they're far ahead in quality or whether this is actually a little bit new to them. And do you know what, James, we have conversations like this all the time in our community here at the CCMA, whether it's on a one-to-one basis like this, whether it is with events, or whether it's on our special interest groups. So anybody that's listening in, if you want to be part of that community and have these conversations, learning about new tools, new techniques, new best practice, then get in touch.
Definitely.
Now, James, Evaluagent, thank you so much for coming and talking to me today.
Thank you for having me. Great to speak to you.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.